thing you need to realize is that no matter how lengthy or how comprehensive the syllabus is, probably you don't have enough time to complete the entire syllabus. So do not make your life complicated by assuming that you need to go through the entire syllabus. It's a myth. So you are studying at the last minute. It is a good opportunity for you to go through only the important things in your syllabus. So how do you do that? How do you get to know only the important content of your syllabus? Well, it's not that difficult. First thing you have to do is to take some model papers or past papers of your subject. If you do not have access to past papers, take some of the tutorial questions that your lecturer has provided to you. Chances are high that lecturers are going to stick with same type of questions they have included in their tutorials. They want students to study the similar type of questions and be prepared for the exam. A very popular myth is that lecturers are heartless and they are trying to fail the students. That is not correct. 99% of the times the objective of a lecturer is to ensure that the students get appropriate marks and they in fact pass the exam, they in fact obtain a good grade. So that's why they give so much practice questions, tutorials, in class problems, etc. So when you do not have time to go through the entire syllabus and its content, the best thing is to start from those questions, start from those in class problems. So even though you might not be going through each single topic, when you are doing a question with answers, some of the content that you are foregoing or some of the topics that you are not reading word by word, you cover automatically. That's a very good thing and that's a very effective thing. And it consumes a lesser amount of time. Another thing I want to tell you is that do not worry that you don't have time to go through the study text. Study texts are very comprehensive and things are there in great detail. When you are not having enough time, the last thing that you should be doing is, spending too much time on your study text. Do not ever do that. So, in class problems, tutorial questions, if you have access to past papers, that would be tremendous. Go through those questions. Chances are high that 60% of the questions you are going to see at your exam are going to be just copy pastes from those sources. What else can you do to ensure that you are studying effectively? Well, study as a group. A very common myth that students have is that I study on my own, take it my own and find time. I am going to understand things better. That might be true. But when you have an exam tomorrow, day after, and you have so much to study, it's always good to have a like minded group of students or colleagues or friends with you to study together. When I'm looking at my bachelor's and different qualifications that I've gone through, I've always had some friends with myself to study at the last minute because different people understand different topics well, better than the others. So, for example, I was studying mathematics, statistics, and economics in my bachelor's. I used to understand statistics better than my friends. So when we were studying together, I was taking the lead of tutoring or teaching statistics to my friends. And there was a good friend of mine who understood economics really well. He took the leadership in teaching us economics. This way was very helpful and very effective, to each of us, and collectively we obtained very good results. So, studying as a group, that's another thing. Then, it's all in your mind, it's all about how you think. So, do not ever think that I can't pass the exam. That's a myth. This is why you need to do practice questions. When you do practice questions, you get to see how the marks are allocated for different subparts of the question. A common myth undergraduate students have is that their final answer is incorrect. or if some parts of their question, their answer rather, is not complete, they are going to have all marks cut from their answer. That is completely incorrect. Take a model question or tutorial question or practice question from a past paper. Then look at how different subparts are allocated different marks and think to the best of your ability, or when you are studying as a group, discuss among each other how do we ensure that we get 50 to 60% mark of the total mark for this question. For example, if you are doing a P&L in a balance sheet in an accounting subject, for you to get 100% of the mark, you need to have the P&L, balance sheet, cash flow, changes in equity, and all the workings correct. But if your objective is to just pass the exam, you don't need to have all those things correct. Find the areas that you can solve easily. For example, you might be able to do a depreciation calculation correctly. You might be able to record P&L transactions accurately and obtain the right profit before tax and profit after tax. So that way you will be able to obtain just the mark that's enough for you to pass the exam. Eventually, that should be your objective, isn't it? And if you're studying at the last minute, well, you might not be having time to ensure that you absorb the knowledge to have 100 out of 100 for the particular question. For example, if you're doing a hypothesis testing, if you're studying hypothesis testing at the last minute, well, hypothesis test has 6 to 7 steps. You might not necessarily understand all steps in your mind properly. It's okay. You don't need all those steps accurately to have a 50 to 60% of the total mark. So strategizing this is very important. Understand what are the steps that I need to do right or perfect in order for me to obtain 50 to 60% of the marks so that I can just pass the exam. Having this idea planted very clearly in your mind always going to help you at your exam. And then the other thing is that now it is you who has uh, kept or procrastinated studying till the last minute. So do not expect wonders to happen at the exam. I mean, do not expect to have a higher distinction or distinction just by studying 2 hours or 1 day or just 2 days before the exam. If you do not have a good mark at the midterm exam or for your assessments also, do not expect that studying in the last 2 3 days will allow you to uh, get a credit or distinction or higher distinction, and not curse your lecturers for not giving you that mark. Chances are high that if you are doing a last minute job with your studies, you are going to get a simple pass at the exam, and be prepared for that and be geared to obtain that mark without being too much specific about the particular mark that you are going to obtain at the exam or particular grade. Your objective, if you are a last minute person, your objective is to pass. Your objective should not be rather to be the highest ranked student in the class. So in summary, what we have looked at in this video, if you are last minute student or if you are last minute person, if you are studying for your exams at the last minute, helpful tip or rather helpful tips for you. Tip number one, uh, always look at tutorial questions, model papers and past papers if you have them. Understand how different marks are allocated for different subparts and strategize how you can obtain 50% to 60% of markage allocated to every main question, and then study as a group. That always helps, and have the mindset that you can actually score 50% to 60% even by preparing just 2 or 3 days before the exam, and have the positive attitude that it's you who decided to wait till the last minute. In fact, you can do a proper effective study in the final 2 3 days, still get 50 to 60% mark and pass the exam. I have always been a last minute person. I have always had good results. I have never failed any of my university exams. Uh, I have very low marks for midterm exams. I did not even have any belief in the system of having midterm exams or attendance for that matter. So I've never had great marks for either attendance or for midterms. But even by studying in the last 2 3 days, I've always made sure that I somehow have passed. So take it from myself. And after that, I've been now tutoring for over 10 years and I've been supporting more than 6 to 700 students worldwide. This is something that I share with all of them, and many of them have, in fact, got successful results following this method. This is not my method, this is not something that I have invented or anything, just out of my thoughts that I'm sharing with you. So, like this video, share this among your friends, and do comment and mention how you felt about the content that I've shared with you today. I will meet you on another day with another video. Thank you for today. It's Kalindu from Study with Kalindu.